Hey Adam, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics and talk a little bit about the different phases of our delivery and where we need to work on our balance and how our lower half's working and everything. And we'll go through and stop and at a couple of those spots and talk a little bit about it. So, the biggest thing for you at your age is to get an idea of balance, how your lower body's working. So as you get older and get stronger, it's going to come easier for you. All right, you got a pretty good foundation for your mechanics. Now it's just a matter of just making a few tweaks with your initial sort of setup to help you stay back, stay in your legs a little bit longer, and we'll go through and talk about that here. So we're going to go back here to the start and draw a few lines here for everything. All right, so what we look at is we're going to get our head, all right, and then we're going to just draw a line sort of where our balance is, where our posture is, all right, and then just watch what happens when everything goes up, all right. So you see that initial little kick back, all right, so we want to try to get to that spot first, all right. So get your head back here, weight over this back side, all right, when you're coming set initially, all right, just sort of that initial little movement there, just preset everything back there. We basically want to be as efficient as we can with our mechanics, and every little extra movement here and there is just going to add to inconsistencies, and so we just want to try to get to that point where we're getting consistent, we're limiting our movements, we're nice and efficient, all right? So that's just the one thing for you there, okay? So now once we get to this, the height of your leg kick, all right, right here, try to get to a point where you have a little bit more, a little bit over your back foot a little bit more, all right? So we just want to close our hips off a little bit earlier and a little bit sooner, because basically where we get velocity and where we get our power is from our hips, all right? So the ability to stay closed as long as we can, as far down the mound, leading with our hips, the more velocity we're going to get, all right? And so you can see here as you're coming forward, all right, your hands start to come down, and your hands break out of what would be your glove there if you had one on, and so we want to try to get a little bit earlier with our hands. All right, so a little thing to sort of help us out is to take our hands and just kind of drop them down a little bit. Again, that cuts off that extra movement, and we want the hands to start to break over the rubber, probably somewhere, it's obviously not going to be exactly over, but probably somewhere in this window of your body. So instead of, you can see yourself kind of start to go forward, legs coming down, and then the hand comes down, and so now everything's kind of late. So your hands are breaking late, they're going to have to play catch up down the mound a little bit, and right at this point here at your foot strike, so once that front foot first hits the ground, which looks like it's probably between one of these two frames, so we'll just call it here, as you can see how everything has started to turn early, all right, and this arm is up here dragging a little bit, all right. So basically at this point here, this is our foot strike. We want to try to see you more in this back leg, which would probably be right about the same angle or so, but what we'd want to see is a little bit more stride length, all right, and you're going to get that from staying back, keeping all your weight in this back side back here, basically your back of your hip to there, and then what that's going to do is that's going to keep you about the same posture where you're at, but you're going to stay closed with that left side, all right? So now your front shoulder is going to be about here. It hasn't started to turn yet, and then this back elbow isn't going to be going so far. Your arm isn't going to be having to play that catch up and speed up and kind of get pushed through your delivery real quick. It's going to have a little bit more time to stay back and get on top of everything. All right, so then through your release point, at this balance or at this foot strike, we want to try to see your hips start to turn before that upper body. And you can see here that they're going at the same time. And again, this is strength. Young guys, it's hard for them to do. So just if you're aware of it, be aware of that. It's called torque, that hip-shoulder separation, is you want to try to get that hip in this position here, and then that upper body is still back, loaded up over that back hip, and that place we kind of drew earlier. You know, your arm will be back here, gloves out here, hasn't turned yet. All right, so everything's just rotating a little bit early. You're losing a little bit of that power by getting out in front a little bit too soon. All right, but you do good job at releasing the ball over your front foot. All right, you can see your head is basically over that front foot. You're driving through that back leg, which is good too. And so it's just a matter of staying through your leg a little bit longer too. And again, strength, you know, the more we can stay back. All right, once you land, you're basically, your weight and everything is a little bit out front over this front foot. So what you're going to see if you cue in on this back foot is you're going to see it drive through the ball. All right, you're doing good. You want to keep 2 feet on the ground when you're releasing it. But what you're going to see is it just kind of, that knee kind of keep going forward, and it kind of collapses on itself here. So as you're releasing that ball, you have this 90-degree angle, whereas we want to get so much power and drive through it that it's going to be straight. All right, that foot's going to be straight. It's going to be kicking, you know, up and over, and not kind of your knee into everything. So we want to try to drive longer through that back leg a little bit more, and you're going to be able to do that by keeping your weight on that back side. All right, so you know, your front side's doing good. You're keeping that glove out over that front foot, which is allowing you to get to this release point, which is good because a lot of kids your age don't get here. They're releasing, you know, probably somewhere back in here. So as you get older and get that strength, you know, the ability to stay back a little bit longer is going to come a lot easier for you. You know, you have a good foundation, a good understanding of everything. Now it's just a matter of staying back, you know, starting back a little bit initially, breaking your hands sooner, and then just staying through that backside as you drive those hips closed down the mount. So, you know, hopefully you'll go from there and improve every year with everything. So, anyways, thanks for making it out to camp. Hopefully you had a great time. Good luck this season, and we look forward to seeing you with ABC.